After Blaine left and Zoe was preparing to go find her mother, Ziva suddenly appeared. She leaned against the window, gasping for breath. She rushed over the moment she heard, "Sis, how's Mom?" "She's okay. The doctor asked that she be admitted to the hospital for observation before her operation. I've just completed the paperwork." Zoe tried her best to say this in a relaxed manner so as not to worry Ziva too much. "So fast? Have you paid the admission fee?" Ziva asked in surprise. Zoe nodded, avoiding elaborating. Ziva snatched the receipt out of Zoe's hand. $4,000? That was so expensive. Sis, where did you get so much money? After Ziva said this, Zoe suddenly felt a bit guilty. Just as she was about to reply, she was surprised when the cashier sitting in the window behind them volunteered an answer. "Dr. Dexter personally paid for this admission." "Dr. Dexter paid?" Ziva was startled as she stared at Zoe in disbelief. "Sis, was this really paid for by Dr. Dexter?" Zoe bit her lips, not knowing how to explain it to her younger sister. "Well, here's the thing. Actually, it just so happens..." Before Zoe could finish her sentence, she was interrupted by Ziva. Her face looked excited as she exclaimed, "Heavens, you know what this means, don't you, Zoe? Dr. Dexter must be really interested in me. First, he came to our house for dinner, and now he's paid for our mother's medical expenses." Ziva was unable to conceal her joy no matter how hard she tried. As they walked to the admissions desk, Ziva said happily, "Sis, don't worry. I will return the money, so you don't have to worry about that." "Ziva, actually..." Zoe opened her mouth to explain, but Ziva stopped her. "Zoe, I know what you're going to say. There's no need. You already have Max to worry about, so let me bear the cost of Mom's hospitalization. What's more, Dr. Dexter must have paid for it out of respect for me, so, of course, it's up to me to return the favor. Don't worry, I'll take care of this." Hearing what Ziva said, Zoe's explanation was stuck in her throat, unable to come out. Should she tell her sister that Blaine didn't pay for their mother because of her? But how would she explain her relationship with Blaine to Ziva in its current state? She certainly couldn't tell Ziva she was Blaine's mistress, so Zoe said nothing. That night, after visiting with Max, Zoe returned to St. Mary's to sit with her mother. When Gloria fell asleep, Zoe quietly left. The moment Zoe came out of her mother's room, she saw Blaine. He was wearing a blue surgical gown and a blue sterile cap. He was walking towards her, looking a bit tired. It was the first time Zoe had seen him in his surgical gear. Just when Zoe thought Blaine couldn't get any more handsome, she saw him like this. There was something about seeing him dressed in this way that made him look sexier than if he was wearing a tuxedo. These were the clothes he wore to save lives. He looked tired. "Did you just get out of surgery?" Zoe asked him when he stopped in front of her. "Yes." Blaine pondered for a moment, then reached up to grab the cap off his head. His hair was a bit disheveled from the pressure of the cap, but he didn't seem to care. "Buy me a drink," Blaine said suddenly. Zoe blinked at him, puzzled. "It's already so late." Blaine completely ignored Zoe's words. He just turned around and walked away. His attitude was evident. It was fine if she went, but if she didn't go, then that was fine too. Looking at his departing back, Zoe suddenly felt that his usually noble figure looked quite lonely. What happened to him? Without thinking, Zoe hastily caught up with him. "I'll go with you." She didn't ask any more questions, but just fell into step beside him. At first, Zoe didn't even know if Blaine had heard her, but then she could feel his footsteps slow down a little to accommodate her. They didn't go to the Enclave, but to a small dive bar around the corner from the hospital. The only other place close to the hospital that was still open at this time. Taking their seats at a small table, Blaine ordered their drinks, and Zoe watched as he took several long swallows of his beer. Looking at Blaine's low mood, Zoe couldn't help but ask tentatively, "What's wrong?" Blaine raised his eyebrows and glanced at her. At that moment, Zoe shivered. The bar was drafty, and she hadn't thought to bring her coat with her. Blaine noticed and immediately took off his jacket and wrapped it around Zoe in a domineering manner. "Put this on." "I'm really not cold. There's just a bit of a draft in here." Zoe frowned as she looked at Blaine, who was now only wearing a long-sleeve shirt. She was about to take off his jacket, but was stopped by him. "Don't even think about it." His eyes were serious. Because she knew that he was in a particularly bad mood, Zoe complied. "What's the matter with you?" Looking at his depressed state, Zoe was worried. She reached out and placed her hand over his impulsively. Zoe was slightly startled. "Blaine, your hand is so cold," she said, looking up at him. Blaine tried to pull away from her warm hand awkwardly. Zoe didn't care about his anger as she quickly took off his jacket. "Blaine, you need to wear this. I'm really not that cold. You need it more than me." As Zoe said this, she stood up and was about to place his jacket over his shoulders when unexpectedly, Blaine suddenly stretched out his hand and pulled her onto his lap. Zoe was shocked by this sudden action. Her pretty face immediately flushed red at finding herself suddenly in this position. Glancing around the room to see if anyone was watching, Zoe struggled to get out of his arms, saying, "Blaine, stop messing around." "Let me hold you." Blaine's voice was low and hoarse, and Zoe felt her heart turn over. The arms around Zoe tightened even more. He buried his head into her soft neck, greedily absorbing the warmth from her body. Zoe was stunned and obediently let him hold her in his arms, not moving the slightest. "Do you remember what I told you about the older man I was trapped with in Mexico City?" Blaine's muffled voice asked from Zoe's arms. "Of course, I remember." Zoe nodded. She held his head gently and stroked the back of his neck. She just wanted to pass all of the warmth and love in her body to him. "He's gone." As Blaine said this, he tightened the arm at Zoe's waist, and the hand on her back pressed her closer. It was as if he couldn't get close enough to her at this moment. It was as if Blaine only knew how to soothe the pain inside of him by holding Zoe.
Hey, this calls out to end of free episodes, and if you want to know what happens next, join the exclusive Pocket FM Dramas membership and get full access to episodes of Rekindled Heartache. Click on link in description to join the membership now.